What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC. I'm Ken, and today we're looking at some hobby detail stuff for the TRX4M. This is their 6x6 kit. So we're going to take a look at this. It's got chassis rail extensions, shock mounts, or link mounts actually, the extra axle, pass-through, some axle shafts, diff gears, some links and shocks, drive shaft, extra wheels, and what is that in there? I can't even tell what that is in there. I think that might be just a, I don't know what that is. I think that's for the drive shaft to extend it, maybe. Maybe that's the pass-through. Is the pass-through not in there? Do they both come with the pass-through? I don't know. We'll see. And then these look like there's some bolt-on portals. So there's 6 bolt-on portals and axle shafts. So that's going to be cool. So let's open this stuff up. Check it out. All right, into the portals we go. Obviously, the portals aren't required for the 6x6, but we wanted to show these guys off. The larger screws all use a 1.5, including these screws here. And then these inner screws on the portal housings are 1.3 millimeters. So we'll go ahead and open this guy up. Ooh, all the screws are coming out. Here we go. Pretty long. Then this is what the inside of the portals looks like. They're not greased up, so just be aware of that. They're keyed versus pins, so they're not like axle pins, or they're actual keys from the axle shaft, like this. Okay, then this is a solid axle all the way, so it's the gear doesn't come off, it's part of the axle. So really there's only 2 parts inside here. Obviously the axle shaft and gear, and then the second gear here. Now, I don't know what kind of gear reduction we're going to get out of this, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting. You're definitely going to want to grease them up, though. Like I said, there's no grease in there at all. They are bearings, so that's nice that they all come with bearings. So that should save you some. And the fronts are already pre-assembled, but you're going to want to open them up and throw some grease in there. Okay, and they come with knuckles as well. Now, this is all brass. Everything's brass, even the knuckles. Okay, so there's some good weight here. I'm going to go ahead and grease all this stuff up, and then I'll weigh it real quick, I guess, so you can see how much extra weight there is. And we'll just do a set of 4, so you can just see that, and then we'll do the full set of 6. I also want to point out that I would highly recommend Loctiting these screws as you put them back in. They're going metal into metal, and you don't want them coming out on you while you're out on the trail. Another thing to keep in mind is you have to screw on the portal cover onto the axles before you put the whole thing back together. So you're going to be taking all this apart so that you can screw on your portal housing onto your axle, and then you can put it all together and Loctite everything that goes into your portal cover. Don't Loctite the screws going into your axle unless you have an aluminum or metal axle housing, obviously. We're going to end up putting all this stuff on this guy here. So I think we're going to convert this guy. He's like totally brassed out and super heavy in the front. We're going to make him even heavier and make him a 6x6. So we're going to probably pull this body off. I don't know, maybe we'll chop the body and end up doing a 6x6 Defender. I don't know yet. I'm not sure what we're going to do there. But I just want to use this chassis setup. And yeah, it's going to definitely be beefy because this guy has already got tons of weight. So we're going to be adding even more, which is going to be nuts. We'll see how long the electronics and servo and stuff last, eh? And I do want to get these guys weighed in for you. So looks like one portal housing is 35 grams. That's obviously without the axle shaft. And those are the rears. The front, if we pull out the CVD, man, we are at 44.55. That means we're at basically 90 plus 70, so it's 160 grams just in the 4 portals. So that's pretty nuts. That's a lot. That's a lot. Well, let's throw it all on there real quick and see if, I don't even know if my scale can do that much weight without freaking out. Actually, pull this out of here. Nope, it's over 200 grams though, because that's when my my scale freaks out when it hits over 200. So, lots of weight, lots and lots of weight. right, so here's our donor truck. You're basically just going to pull out your screws that hold your bearing in. Pull out our axle shafts. Swap it over to one of these guys. And I believe these are no, they're not the exact same on each side. Let's see. What is the way these guys go? Yeah, so you're going to put this end with a little notch in it to the inside. Just like so. And then our portal housing inner goes on there just like so. Actually, I think we pull this bearing out. We don't even use this bearing. So pull this bearing out, and then this portal housing sits in there like that. There we go. And then the bearing is here. Something not right here. Hold on. The bearing is very tight. Maybe the bearing, maybe it actually goes this way. Oh, I think it does. So the notch side actually does point outward. So I'm hoping this slots in just fine. Okay, we're good. We're good. So yeah, notch side is actually milled down just a little bit for the bearing to fit on there. So that's what that's about. Now we can go ahead and throw our portal housing screws in. Again, we're going into metal housings, so we're going to use a tiny bit of Loctite here, just because we don't want these guys falling off. Okay. One thing I want to point out is that you make sure you get your screw super tight. Well, not super tight. Don't strip it out, but just make sure it's seated all the way down. That way, when your bearings go in here from this side here, you're able to sit nice and flush. Okay. If you're not sitting flush, then there's an issue, right? So make sure your bearing sits flush. Everything sits nice and flush. That screw's got to go all the way down in there, and then you'll be good to go. These portals actually feel really smooth, so I'm super happy about the gear meshing here, at least so far. We'll see how much slop. It doesn't feel like we have a lot of slop, so that's freaking awesome. Let me go ahead and get this all tightened up in here, get the rest on here, and then we'll check it out. I had to put the wheels and tires back on just to show you this, because this is actually kind of nuts. So here's the stock. I'm going to hold the drive shaft, and I'm going to show you the stock wheel play. Right? So that's the amount of play in the stock wheel between the axle and the diff and all that good stuff, right? Holding the drive shaft so it doesn't move, because there's play in the drive shaft too, but holding the drive shaft, look at that. Okay, now look at the portal. Usually portals have a ton more play. It's got a little bit, but nothing compared to what I've seen before. These are really tight portals. It's pretty nuts. And then you can see they also widen quite a bit. So we are going to definitely be wider with these portals on here for sure. Portal housings are going to, I don't know. We'll see. Let's measure real quick just so we know, because that's significantly wider, way wider than I expected. I'll be honest. So if we take, let's just go, I don't know, from the shock mount on the inside or the link mount on the inside. We're at 51 millimeters. And then if we go here to the link mount, 51 to, man, 68, 66, 51 to 66. So it's an extra 15 millimeters. Does that seem about right? Yeah, we're right about an extra 15 millimeters, almost 16. So that's an extra 30 millimeters. This guy's going to be wide, real wide. Oh, that's unfortunate. Our scrub is going to be pretty bad too. So we'll have to keep that in mind. I don't know. We'll see. Where's my body? Oh man, it's a wide one. Huh. Okay. Well, maybe we'll just have to put some big tires on here. Some balloon, like, I don't know. We'll see. We're experimenting here, guys. We're experimenting. Come on the journey with us. Another thing, you get about an extra 7 millimeters of clearance on your diff and axle. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's an extra 7 millimeters. Give me a box here. So just about like so. You'll be riding quite a bit higher, tons of clearance on your diff. The only thing you have to worry about your portals, but they seem pretty low profile for the most part, so that's good. But definitely going to be riding higher. They may come off. I don't know. I'm kind of digging them. I just wish they weren't quite so wide. Maybe we'll have to get some like different offset wheels. These wheels are pretty negative offset. We'll need something that tucks in a little more maybe. That probably would help. Some 1.3s that are tucked in. That'll help. We'll see what we can do. And just as a rule of thumb, we always like to test along the way. So we're powered up and we seem good to go here. It definitely gears it down. So you're gonna have a lot more torque. Another thing to remember when you switch to portals, everything's reversed because of the gearing. So now forward is reverse, right? And reverse is forward. So we'll have to switch that in the remote, or you can also switch it by changing the soldering on the motor. For a brushed motor, just swap the cables and you're good to go. Same with the brushless, I guess. If it's a 3-wire motor, you can just switch any 2 of the wires and you'll reverse it. But we should be able to change it in our remote, so we'll be good there. But yeah, always check along the way. That way, if there's binding or something weird happening, you'll know exactly where it's binding, since that's exactly where you're working. You can also just kind of make sure that everything's equal, and again, you're looking for binding along the way. It just makes it easier, because once the truck's all together and you start having overheating issues or it sounds like something's scraping, you're like, I don't know where it's coming from. At least we know that it would be somewhere back here right now. So, all right, we're going to do the front now. Let's get this guy unplugged. Get this out of here. And the front's going to be pretty simple. All we got to do is pop off our knuckles and C-hubs. It's going to be more complicated than the rear, but nothing too crazy. Okay. Then we can pull this guy right out. Then our C-hub comes right out now. And then we're going to have to pull our knuckle off of our steering link. Like so. All right, so all that stuff comes out, and you're left with just your axle and your steering link. And then these guys, we will have to open them up and grease them, and we can do that once it's all in. They are directional, obviously. The side matters. Oh, what am I doing? We didn't need to pull the C-hubs off at all. Noob. All right, put our C-hubs back. Jeez, my bad. I was thinking we had to change the C-hub because a lot of times on portals, the C-hubs are much taller to take into account the portal, because the portal's built into the knuckle. But on these guys, it's just a direct stock swap, basically. So you don't have to change the C-hub. Let's try to get this guy to tuck in. Here we go. Looks like our steering link's kind of tight, but that's okay. All right, there we go. And then just put our screws right back in. You can use the screws that came with if you want, or your stock screws, it looks like. Either one. Well, for the steering link, you'll definitely have to use your stock screw. I guess we'll just use these. Now, these came with these little spacers. I'm not sure what for, honestly. Maybe your shocks? I don't know. I don't know what the spacers are for. I thought they would be for your knuckles and your C-hubs, but since you're using the C-hubs that come with, not exactly. So, don't know. There's going to be a lot of scrub in this. So that's unfortunate. Like I said, ideally, we're going to try to find some positive offset wheels That'll help suck the wheel into the hub. So we'll see. Basically like this, right? So this, if this was your wheel, is a negative offset. The center where it mounts is negative from the outside. So that's going to make it stick out even further. That would give us even worse scrub, right? What you'd ideally want to find here is something where it's this way and the hub's on this side. So then you have a positive offset, which will bring your wheel inward, right? Because your hub is further to the outside. And then it'd tuck it more in. See the difference there? So this versus this. This is what we need. We need to find this deep of a wheel in a 1.3. It might still rub at least a little bit so that we can get it offset just a little bit, as long as we're not rubbing on this portion here, because this portion here does stick up. And I think if they were this deep, they might rub. I can't tell until you put the hex on and stuff, but either way, we're looking for something with a little bit of a positive offset. Scrub radius is bad. Generally, it makes your servo work a lot harder. It hurts your actual turn radius, and sometimes it gives you more body rub. It just depends. And once again, we'll check to make sure there's nothing crazy happening. Everything seems good. Seems super smooth. Not a lot of play. I dig that. See that scrub? You can see the scrub. I don't dig that. But it is what it is for now. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let me get the wheels and tires on there. One thing that is nice is it comes with hex hubs. And these hex hubs are a little bit more narrow than what we had. We had some Endurers on here and a little thicker, maybe a millimeter. So these are going to help just a little tiny bit. They also come with the axle pins. Again, extra screws, even these guys. So we've got some hubcaps or bolts, nuts, whatever, some brass ones. So that's cool. Again, still just don't know what those are for. Shrug. I think we found our answer for the wheels already. I've got a set of these DJ crawlers. Look at these things. Hold on. Oh, nasty, right? I actually forgot how offset these things are. Look how positive offset they are. They're super deep on the backside. They're 1.3, so that's freaking perfect. And look at this. Tons of clearance. They're a little wide, which is nice because it actually, will fill up some of that gap. These are going to be freaking perfect. So I just got to see. I think I need 3 sets so that I can do the 6x6 here. I'm stoked though. Those are freaking cool looking. Check them out. I actually think they're discontinuing these ones and doing a newer version. I'm not 100% on that, but they're worth checking out if you can find them aftermarket. They're freaking sweet. So yeah. All right, we got our wheels and tires on. Tires are 1.3s, 64 by 24s. And then the wheels are technically 1.33s. They have a couple different colors of these. Unfortunately, like I said, we verified they are discontinued. They're not going to be making this specific style anymore. And look, these are the ones that have the caps. So if you have a VW, this is what you want. So go look for them if you can find them. They have all black. They have these, and then they have a champagne with silver ring. Anyway, the tires will still be available. They definitely suck in that offset that we were worried about, or that, for the scrub radius. It pulls it in pretty good. I don't know how well you can tell, but it pulls it in past the outer portion of the portal cover. So pretty good. Definitely brings it in a couple millimeters. There's also these hubcaps. They push into a plastic piece, and you can I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's a little black plastic ring that goes behind the hex hub. And if you pull that out, that plastic spacer, you got another 2 millimeters. It'll actually set it in 2 millimeters even further. And I think you'd still have that clearance. You'd be good there. So if you want to go even more narrow, you could, but then you can't really use these hubs because the hubs the plastic is what holds the hubs in. There are these little guys here. Anyway, the portals are looking damn good. There's not a ton of play. Most of that play is in the drive shafts. You can see it. Like if I hold the drive shafts, that's about it. That's total play with the drive shafts, which is not much considering portals, because portals usually have a ton of play. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and throw our hubcaps on here and take it out and go drive it a little bit. And then we're going to start working on the 6x6. We had to order another set of these. We had another set of these wheels and tires coming so that we can do our 6x6. And that'll be in the next video about this guy. So let's go get some running footage, and yeah, then we'll be back with our thoughts. Well, alrighty. I hope you enjoyed some of that running footage. This guy definitely is heavy. It is a beast. I don't know if you saw how much squish was going on in the tires. I think these foams are far too soft. They're very, very soft foams. I kind of figured that when we were putting them in, but I figured, let's just roll with it. But I think some slime balls from Flubber Stuffers would be huge here. We definitely need some side stability here, some sidewall. The conformity here is plenty, but the sidewall is very floppy. So having this rig be super heavy doesn't help there. But still performed decently, just super heavy. The clearance really helps a lot. You just got to pick your lines well so that you're not hitting on your C-hubs or the portal covers at all. But yeah, if you're looking for portals that just snap right on to any axle, any stock dimension axle, whether it's the Enjoras or the Mias Racing or even the Hobby Details. I'm not 100% sure if they have aluminum axles. I'm sure they do. If they have them, you can bolt these right onto them. You don't have to change out your whole axle. You can just add on the portals, which is pretty cool. It's a cool option. And also some people really like the really wide stance. This is almost still too wide for me here. But it's cool looking. And I think when we get the 6x6 on there, maybe we start chopping away at this guy, or just use a totally different body that's maybe a little wider. It'll make a lot more sense. I don't know what we're doing with it yet, other than going 6x6 with this this rig chassis and setup. Again, the body may change. We do have a couple extra of these bodies. We got a chopped up one here, which was chopped up when we got it. We had to clean it up a little bit, but I don't know. We could cut this off here. We can just add it on there, have kind of a bed on there. I'm not sure. We have to see how the shock towers are set up on the 6x6. I also have a whole other, basically brand new rig body, which, I mean, they're the same, whatever. We could always chop it up and just add on the cab there as well. I'm not sure the best way to do it. We just need a second fender well, right? So maybe this guy is the answer. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. How should we go about doing this as a 6x6 body? Or should we just scrap the whole 6x6 Defender idea and go with something totally different? We'll have to find something if we do that. But tell us what you think down in the comments below. Also, tell us what you think about the portal axles here. The Hobby Details portals. Pretty slick. Also, our DJ crawlers. Tell us about those. I also wanted to point out that we tried to reverse the throttle in the remote, but the stock ESC, it still thinks you're going in reverse. So it, while it does go forward, our brake lights and reverse lights light up when we go forward, and then when we go in reverse, they go back to normal running lights. So we just swapped it on the motor, swapped the red and the black wire. Super simple. Took 2 seconds to solder that up and switch the wires. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, all those things you do to support channels that you want to support. It's just a click for you, but it means the world to me. And yeah, how else will you know when the new video comes out showing the 6x6? That subscribe and notification bell will let you know. All right, guys, get out there, build something awesome, build a car course community, and then smash it, crash it, and bash it. But don't break the expensive parts. Peace.